And welcome back to Revolution Radio with Jay Dillon. I am joined by the great, hilarious comedian Alex Elkin. Alex, how you doing, man?
Well, I'm doing great and hilarious. So things are well.
So you're gonna be at the Looney Bin here in Wichita
Man, I'm
tonight and
already here.
tomorrow.
The condo shares a wall with the actual comedy club. So I can literally just listen in, find out when I'm going up, and I can just dart over there. I don't even have to wear pants most of the day.
I didn't know it was that close. It's right by there.
It shares the wall. It's crazy.
Oh, that's insane. I mean, that's kind of cool though, 'cause like at least that puts you like in downtown.
Yeah, yeah. And I got to take a walk around beautiful Wichita today. Froze my eyelids open. It was fun.
Yeah, get you woken up. You know, just in case you weren't woke enough.
Well, that's what you got to be now. You got to get woke. Can't write a joke. You need to be woke.
Well, they keep, you have to stay woke when they just keep, uh, sticking you with the sticks and jabbing at you all the time.
Oh man, well that's why I got into comedy is so that hopefully one day some 18-year-old punk could cancel me on Twitter.
All right. Yeah, yeah. Or so in 10 years you can look back and realize that everything you thought was just wrong.
Right. I'm on the wrong side of history all the time.
Man, I think that's changing. Don't you?
You think people are getting tired of it? Because there's a silent majority out there that are just sick and tired of being told we're racist, misogynist, homophobic thugs.
I do. Like I feel that happening. I mean, I know you and me we're kind of on the opposite political spectrum, but like even on my side, I mean, and I wouldn't consider myself a liberal. But the progressives, we hate this social justice warrior crap.
Right, because and really, there's nothing wrong with being liberal. There's nothing wrong with having empathy for your fellow man and wanting to take care of other people. It's this idea that you got to be so far left that if you don't accept socialism as the norm, then you're wrong. It's crazy, man. Because you know, as a comic, because we don't really work, man. I mean, these hour days are already a killer. Imagine us having a garden.
Yeah, I know. I mean, and it's not just that too. Not that I want to stick on this too long, but I mean, the other problem with the liberal, like you were saying, there's nothing wrong with it. The biggest problem mentally is that liberals think that only they can care about fellow man. Like, oh, if you're not one of us, how can you're just a horrible person, oh, you're a Trump voter. Like, you hate people or something, which is just a ridiculous idea. And not all of them, but there is that, like, mindset out there, which is just disturbing. But I do think it's going away.
Yeah, I do too. And it's interesting. I was talking to a buddy today about it, and really, I think it's social media that's kind of muddied the waters because I come from I'm right in the middle. I'm the Generation X. I came from the analog generation to now the digital age, and I still see the internet as kind of this fun little tool that we get to use, and I don't take it too seriously. And so the persona I produce online of myself is not really me. Yet there's this generation after me that completely puts all their dirty laundry out there. This is, Facebook is now their therapist and their health organizer and their mental health stabilizer. Take it so serious that they think that I'm doing the same thing. So when they take me completely seriously online, I laugh at them and then they get offended and upset. It's really a crazy dynamic.
I think you're right, definitely. I've definitely kind of pulled away from all of that. I'm not on there as much. Because you're 100% right, and there's certain things like today. Joe Rogan put his endorsement for Bernie Sanders. And
Sure.
whatever, it's fine. But all of the backlash, and I say all of it, it probably was a small group, but all of the, well, Joe Rogan said this in, 1998. Joe Rogan said this about these people and these people. And it's like, okay, number one, he's a comedian. Number two, he doesn't have to pass some litmus test just to endorse somebody. It's ridiculous. And most of it, by the way, taken out of context.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it seems like we were much better off when our politics were kind of kept private. You didn't talk about things like religion and politics and basic truths that you want to hold to yourself in public, and it just made for much better conversation. And now it's like I can't even accept you unless I know you think exactly the same way I do. And frankly, I don't want people to think the same way I do. That would seem pretty boring. I already know how I think.
Right? Although, I mean, I will say, I think it is these conversations that are making people kind of realize, you know what, I don't really have that big of a, like, maybe I vote different than this guy, or I believe different than this guy, but this guy's still cool. And, you know, the idea of the whole cancel culture, I don't know, I think it's almost used just, I don't know, as a joke anymore. Half the time I
It
see
is.
some
It is.
stuff and, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's a joke, and it's a weapon used by people that don't have any free thought for themselves. That can't come up with their own argument. They're busy, putting up memes that somebody else. They really don't have their own thoughts about these ideas. They just know what they've heard out of context, and they jump on that bandwagon because thinking is hard.
I think you're 100% right there, definitely. You know, one thing you're talking about the internet, though, and the way that we kind of use it and technology and how our generation, I guess I'm like at the tip of the millennial, which I think what's kind of cool, though, and I don't know if you've experienced this, but I know I have with my own kid. Our kids, I think, are actually using it like for utilitarian purposes. Like my kid was teaching himself Japanese with the translator and everything. And they're like making, they're doing video editing. They're doing all sorts of shit that we probably should be doing. I just think that's kind
So
of
that's
cool.
brilliant. Yeah, my kid. I got a couple little entrepreneurs myself. My 12-year-old is doing a video game show on YouTube with his buddy, and he's just created their logo, and we put it on some shirts, and they're trying to sell their merch, and I think that's pretty cool, because first of all, it fascinates the hell out of me that there's a generation out there that will literally pay somebody to watch them play video games. I mean, that blew my mind when Twitch came out. I was like, come on, that's not real. And then I made $1,600 from donations one day on a show because people liked what I was doing. So it's real. It's out there. It's incredible and good for those entrepreneurial kids out there teaching themselves Japanese and all that stuff because we need that. It's better than what I do. I mean, I'm strictly Facebook, Twitter, and Pornhub.
You got to get on Lobster Tube. There's a lot more there.
Lobster tube?
Yeah. It's a weird one I found recently, but it kind of can.
Oh
Yeah,
boy,
yeah. I won't get into it.
damn it! Now I
But
gotta look that up.
you know what's sad about that is you're gonna be looking it up and then you'll think of me, and that's gonna be the problem. It's gonna ruin it for you. No, that's cool though, cause yeah. What is the name, by the way, if you don't mind giving it out? I don't know if you wanna, you know, the game show. If not, I get it. If it's more directed at different.
They're called Duo Noobs, Nubes, Duo Noobs, and it's just my son and his friend, and they're just doing what they see other people do.
That's cool. That's cool. I think and yeah, for us, it's a video game, but um, man, for them, like esports is a thing for one. Which again, you and I, we could have been great at esports. We'd have been like the next Patrick Mahomes, you know. So it
It's
doesn't take cardio,
yeah.
but yeah, and you're right. Yeah, make a lot
I
of
think I
money, and
got too much. I think I got too much Jewish blood in my background though for any kind of sports stardom.
hey, you could have handled it unless you're against a ninja or something.
Right. Yeah.
So
Instead of counting the money.
right, yeah. But yeah, no, it's cool because yeah, you definitely see that generation just working harder. But anyway, enough about annoying kids who probably won't even beat your show
Yeah.
tonight. um, how's your last year been? I know you've been busy as heck.
That's what it is, man. I'm just grinding. I'm just getting, as much work as I possibly can, doing all the work that I possibly can. Because I'm turning 40 this year, man, and it's starting to hit me that, I can't do this kind of traveling forever, so I got to work smarter and not harder. And so, just got hired by a cruise line, so I'm starting to do the cruise ships, which really pay the bills. It's nice. And I've been writing a script that I'm really interested in selling and trying to get out there and just looking to do bigger things. But yeah, I'm just trying to be so good that they can't ignore me. Just what Steve Martin said. So I just want to get booked, and I want him to rebook me, so I can keep this thing going for as long as I can because I just love what I do.
Well, you're definitely good at it. I heard a story in one of your more recent trips on your cruise line. You got basically paid for like little to no work. Did something happen? Or am I thinking of?
Uh,
I thought I saw something that you posted on Facebook about that.
Little to no work. Well, I mean, it's those 30-minute days are a killer,
Well,
but
no, like did the ship have problems or something like that, and you got turned away
oh
but still
yeah,
got paid?
yeah. Well, it's crazy. I was on the plane heading to Cozumel to get on the ship, and I get into immigration, and we're in Mexico, and I tell him, "Hey, I'm getting on the Carnival Glory," and the guy just his eyes turn into giant saucers, and he looks at me and he goes, "Oh no, this is." He doesn't speak English; is not his first language, so he just makes these hand gestures, like two ships crashing. He goes, "He's talking about." And I get out, and sure enough, man, the Carnival Glory got smashed up in the back end, and literally one floor below the comedy club. And it was my very first experience on getting on a cruise ship. And the cool thing was is no matter what, when I step on the plane, I'm getting paid. So if they have me on stage or they don't, that's their decision. So I ended up sitting around eating chips and salsa in the sun at the beach, for a while until they could finally get us on the ship. But I got to tell you, Carnival, man, they know their shit. They flew welders out, and they were working on that thing 24 hours nonstop, patching it up, making sure they had a good, smooth ride for everybody. Because this was right during the holiday season, and they're not going to be in the business of refunding people on those cruises.
Well, I
So
bet, I
uh,
bet.
they did a great job buttoning her back up, man, and they got rid of the old glory hole. If you know what I mean?
That's hilarious, actually. No, that's good you weren't on it, by the way, because
Yeah,
we don't
yeah.
need to lose
Thank
another
God.
comedian. Too many. As far as your script writing, and I'm sure there's a lot of people who are curious about this. Like, how do you approach it? Is that something that you'll do like, hey, from 12 to 3 every day, this is what I'm doing? Or do you kind of wait for inspiration to hit you?
Yeah, man, I got to say, I'm pretty lazy about it. I wait for the inspiration to hit me. I was on the ship, I twiddle my thumbs on there, man. It's either go to the buffet, do a comedy show, work out, or sleep. And I decided, you know what, I'm going to do this writing. And I've had this story kicking around in my head for years because it's based on my life. And I finally bare bones it out, got the whole thing start to finish, scene by scene done, and now it's just a matter of putting the lines on the paper and writing these the actual dialogue. But I got it all down and it's ready, and I'm really excited about it because it's something that's passionate for me. It's a comedy, but it's also a drama, and it touches on subjects that people just don't want to talk about right now or are just starting to talk about. And we're talking about suicide, we're talking about transgenderism, we're talking about fucking pardon me, but drag, drag queens, and and muscle cars, and just America, and it's just all these things that have tied into this my life that have made me who I am.
That's cool. Yeah, you're right. I think that would be something that unfortunately somebody like NBC would look at and be like, "Oh, I don't know," but it's what people would want to see, like, and
Yeah,
something that
yeah,
could
and
get picked up.
that's one of the cool things about the internet now is Patton Oswalt said it best in his letter, when he read it, we don't need you screeners anymore. We don't need you jackasses on the phone telling us, you can't talk to the big man, because you know what? I've got the access now. I can go out and I could crowdfund this thing and I could get it done myself. I don't need some studio telling me that, we've got suits coming down with notes. No, I can create it myself. So that's probably what's it's helped me, but it's also hindered me because I feel like, well, I've got that in my back pocket, so there's no rush. But I kind of put the rush on, and I put the words on the paper, and it's going to be a go soon. And whether or not it gets bought or optioned or I have to do it myself, this project will get made, man. Somebody's going to see it, and I
Is it gonna be more of
think
like,
and I think people.
oh, sorry. Oh, sorry, man. I was just gonna say, is it gonna be more of like a sitcom or like a um
No,
movie?
it's a film. Yeah, it's a full feature length film.
That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, no, like, dude, in like Netflix, I saw something. There's a 17-minute film on Netflix with a guy interviewing a monkey who might have committed a murder. Like, I'm just saying, if that gets picked up, you you've got to be able to get that out there. I mean,
No kidding, man. If Nanette can pass for comedy, then God damn it, there's got to be some room for me. Come on.
yeah, no, there is some really questionable stuff. But are you when you're doing that and you got this movie idea going on, you've got multiple like social media things going on. When do you get time to work in like a new hour?
You know, that's interesting. It happens on stage. Some ideas, that I've already touched on will lead into other ideas, and when I'm there and I'm doing my hour, that whole middle part, is kind of like testing grounds, and last night I tried a new joke and it worked, and so that's going to go into it, and it's really what I'm inspired by, and the hour comes out of what am I passionate about right now. My Screaming at Shapes album, that's you can watch it on Amazon Prime or download it on wherever you get music, and uh, that was fu social justice warriors out there. This is still America. We still have free speech, and while I said that, it's not that I'm not for that anymore, but now I'm moving on. I kind of just want to. I like to get back to the roots of comedy, where you just be funny for the sake of being funny. Maybe you don't have to have a message, or some agenda. You just go out and tell jokes, and so that's kind of what I'm doing. I think that's what we need now. There's too many, like we were talking about earlier, too many woke comedians that really aren't writing jokes. They're just making statements and pandering to everybody so they can get their clapter, and they can wave their virtue signaling flags all around, and everybody can tell them how great they are because they're not a racist, they're not a misogynist. And, hey, congratulations, you know what I mean? Hey, rape sucks, I agree, but everybody knows that. We don't need to sit there and wave a flag about it. Everybody gets that. And if this stupid idea that you need to sit your children down and tell them not to rape, I mean, that's just absolutely that's horse shit. That's ridiculous. You don't, my children know how to treat women because I treat my wife, their mother, with the utmost respect, and that's how they're going to treat their wives. And it's example. It's not sitting kids down and slapping them and telling them this is what you do, this is what you don't do. So I just kind of railed against that, and now I just feel like, you know what, just go be funny. Just go be funny. Everybody else can be woke.
No, I agree. And there's some comedians who can kind of intertwine it in there and it still works. But for the most part, when you see, and I hate to do it because I used to like the guy at one point, but Bill Maher is the worst about it. And I don't comment on this if you're hoping to get on his show or something, but he's just, I mean, he just bashes a side of the opposite political side for the sake of doing it and to say, oh, look at me, I'm above it, I'm with everybody. He's just some rich millionaire who's been elitistly cut off from everyone else, and you can call him out on that shit. And I think a lot of people are coming to that point where like they're realizing you're not even good at what you do, man. You're just lecturing to us at this point.
Yeah, Ricky Gervais, man, I could polish that guy's shoes with my hair. I mean, it was fantastic when he just let the cat out of the bag and said what everybody's been thinking. Stop waving your judgmental finger at America. You don't know anything about culture right now. You don't know what the finger of the pulse of the people are, because you're too busy in your oxygen tents and going to your South Beach diet bullshit yoga classes that you don't know what it's like. So quit telling us, that we need to be better when you've entered a business where you're treated like an object, and then you get mad because you're treated like an object.
Yeah, Ricky Gervais's bit was like a surprise orgasm. Like I didn't know it was coming. It was amazing while it was happening. afterwards, I'm like, where do I get another one of those?
Yeah, it's weird because whenever I orgasm, I do it in a British accent too. Like, oh, I'm arriving, I'm arriving. Oh, excellent.
It was amazing. It was finally like time somebody got out there and called the elitist assholes on their shit. But
Yeah, because you're going to kick Kevin Hart off of off of the Oscars because he said something about gay people 10 years ago. But you're going to go out there and go to secret islands where you rape kids and your gowns were made by little sweatshop children in Thailand. So he's get off your high horses, man. Get off your damn high horses. The coke is showing off your nose.
yeah, I mean, yeah, we'll go ahead and persecute Louis C.K. into non-existence. But hey, we're hanging out with Epstein tonight. I mean,
Yeah, yeah. And Oprah Winfrey, who introduced people to Weinstein, is still revered. And hey, congratulations to her. She just landed the cover of O magazine again.
yeah, no, it it boggles my mind. The more you find out about this stuff, and the more you kind of get out of that mainstream media mindset, you start to, kind of take a step back. That, or if unfortunately they start attacking people that you care about a lot, like they said, when they start going after Aziz and Louis C.K., I'm looking at like what these guys did, and I'm like, it wasn't that big a deal, And then you have Hillary Clinton going on Howard Stern, and oh, well, Howard Stern's a great guy. Howard Stern was. I have no problem with Howard Stern, but you can't just say like he didn't like shoot hot dogs at women's mouths. Like you can't just wipe him away because he's apparently part of the group, or I don't know,
Yeah,
but
or even closer than that. How about your rapist husband, ma'am? How
well,
about
yes.
if you want to start splitting hairs here, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, we talk about consent. My God, on these cruise ships, if I want to bring my wife and have sex with her in my cabin, I've got to get her to sign a consent form. For God's sakes, what is this? A high school dorm room? This is ridiculous, and it's because of this woke culture. And what's crazy is this culture has steered so far away from traditionalist values, the Judeo-Christian values that this nation was founded on, that they've literally gone to the other side and created those values yet on another level. It used to be just consent. Now you need to check a box if you want to do anal. It's crazy. And then when you follow the rules, you're still castigated. I mean, take Louis C.K. for example. The guy asked for fucking permission. He asked for consent, and they didn't say no. And if they had, they could have walked away. But he whipped it out and did what he did. Nobody got hurt. They just got offended, and their feelings were hurt. And they found out that humanity and their heroes are just people. And that's a hard truth and a hard thing to swallow when you find out the people that you looked up to on the screen and think that they're above everybody else because people like Bill Maher claim that they are. You find out, no, their shit stinks, and they put their pants on just like everybody else, and they masturbate in front of young people just like anybody else.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing you could get Louis on is he was a boss at times, not even to all of them, but just like one of them, I think. Even that, like, that's a really gray area. But and I think that you're right in the fact where you're like, people discovered their heroes aren't, gods essentially. But it's not like you guys as comedians lie about who you are. I mean, Jim Jeffries, Jim Norton, the whole array of, anytime you hear them on podcast or radio, they're not lying. This is what they do. Like Louis
Yeah.
C.K. talked about the shit he liked to do, and then we're surprised when he does it.
Right. Right. We keep wanting to have these role models and heroes. How am I going to explain to my children? You know what? You should tell them they're people just like you. You're going to come to find that your kids are going to grow up in a world, and you got to take the bubble wrap and the helmets off. They're going to come to find out that the world is harsh, it's cruel, it's wicked, and what little bit of light you can bring to it, do so. But to put people up on pedestals and pretend like they're better, it's silly. It's absolutely silly.
It is, and with some of those
And
things,
naive.
I mean, your kids shouldn't be paying attention to it. Like, you should turn off the
Yeah.
TV, show some, constraint yourself, and
Yeah.
maybe
Be
not
a
watch,
parent.
yeah, mature stuff in front of them. And like you were saying with the Christian beliefs, like I don't subscribe to that, but I agree with you 100% on the fact that they are there's so many people who reject it outright, and in turn they're not even realizing that, hey, by going out sleeping around, you're gonna have a kid. That kid, that's gonna be stronger connection than any piece of paper. That you're always gonna be tied to that person. And I don't know what it was, and I think it was a hyper feminist Twitter page I saw where it was like basically saying that only a failure of a woman is a woman who stays in it for the long haul. And it's like, that's the most ridiculous ideology I've ever heard of.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I think the problem is they're usually the women that are saying that are the ugly, homely ones that didn't get a prom date. Uh, the the ones that, I mean, my wife would be the first one to tell you she loves staying home and taking care of the kids and providing healthy meals and making sure that there's a nice, clean, warm place for us to come back to and shove off the bullshit of the outside world, and that makes her proud. And you know what? Her job is just as important as mine, because if I didn't go out and provide for the means to be able to have that household, I wouldn't be able to do her job as well. And she certainly couldn't be able to go out and do my job, So it's a beautiful trade-off, and it's a good thing. And there's no shame in creating a home and being a mother, or being a father. There's no shame in that. The shame is when you're going out there throwing your seed everywhere, or making babies willy-nilly and then just leaving them to fend for themselves because you can't be bothered, or you can't even. Or when you use abortion as a contraceptive afterthought. People want to talk about, abortion being health care. No, that's bullshit. If you look at the statistics, 0.006% of it is due to rape. 0.003% of it is due to incest. 0.018 of it is due to the mother's health. 96% of abortions are done because I really can't be bothered. And that's amazing and wrong, in my opinion. And people it's a touchy subject, and probably I could get people turn me off because of that. But you know what? I don't need you in my life anyway. I didn't need you before. I don't need you now. And this is how I really feel about it. You don't understand what love is. You don't understand what being a human being is until you have a child. People like Bill Maher, who I've heard him quoted as saying, "I don't find children amusing. He's not interested in children." Or what about Seth Rogen, who's out there talking about he likes to ask people, "Do you really like your kids?" Because I'm interested in finding somebody that that really doesn't really like their kids. And Seth Rogen's just a piece of trash anyway. I mean, the guy, my God, he can't even act out a scene. He's always. You ever notice Seth Rogen just sits there in the scene explaining the scene? And now it's incredible. Oh, I'm going to get under the blankets, pull out my penis, and it's going to go inside of you, and that's what we're doing. There's never any. He's no showing. It's just telling all the goddamn time.
You might do
It's
with the
ridiculous.
best Seth Rogen I've heard.
And he's successful. He's successful. God bless him for what he does, because he fits into that niche and that mindset now where it's cool to kill babies and to hate kids and to shuck the family life, because that's ridiculous. Even though, boy, that's what created society over the eons of time that we've called ourselves a society. But yeah, no, they were wrong. Right, you've got it all figured out.
And he does. You are right about the actor thing. He only
Please, go
plays
at
Seth
each other.
Rogen.
That's
I
what
mean,
created.
but yeah, and the other, I think
Yeah.
another thing you were talking about, that I do think is a problem with like the hyper feminism, is like you were saying, your wife, she's a homemaker, and it's when I hear the the feminists, and you can't see me when I'm using quotation marks, who you know attack women who do that. And it's
Yeah.
like, I thought you were all about
Where's
unity in females,
where's the
together.
solidarity, ladies?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Where's
that's
the
what
where's
they're
the
choosing
solidarity?
to do. Like, I
No,
would.
what it is
Oh, go ahead.
it's either think the way we think or you're wrong, and that's what it is. It's not feminism. It's not solidarity. It's not women first and empowerment. It's you think this way, and if you don't think this way, you're wrong.
Yeah, you're right. Everything does turn into like that weird kind of cult culture that gets out of whack. I think at one point feminism probably did have, its place, but that was a long time ago, and it's definitely been, uh,
First, first
taken
wave
over.
feminism first wave feminism was absolutely right. Women should be treated as equals. They were, just as important as men, and they should be given the right to vote, and they should be heard, and they should be in the workplace. That is wonderful. But when you decided to step forward and become a special class that needs special treatment and special laws, and you need to be, and you put down your male, uh, partners because of their sex, now you're getting into this second and third wave feminism now, which is just all sex is murder, and everything is, everything is misogyny, and if it doesn't have a vagina, it's wrong, and that's just stupid thinking. That's just stupid cultish thinking.
Or the thing I've seen a lot trending in those groups is like male genital mutilation. Like, you want me to back a group that is pro, mutilating my kid's genitals? No, I don't think so. Like, you can go sit on a fist, but
Oh,
I've seen that so much lately, and
is that on
it's
your lobster tube?
right, yeah. It's disturbing. But anyway, man, um, so can you give me a quick, brief kind of explanation of what people are gonna come see tonight and tomorrow night?
Well, they're going to see comedy, man. I come out with high energy. I come out, I'm self-deprecating. I'm willing to laugh at myself, and with that comes the truth that if you're going to laugh at me, then we got to be able to laugh at everything else. And if you can't laugh at everything, then you can't laugh at anything. And I'm a firm believer that we should be able to make fun of all things, because I start out by making fun of myself, and if I can start from me, then I can make fun of you. But all my audiences, I guarantee you're going to have a good time unless you come in there with a chip on your shoulder looking to be offended. If you do that, you're going to find something because you already wanted to in the first place. But you come to one of my shows, I guarantee you, I've got stories. I've sent women into labor from laughing. I had a guy call me up one morning on my radio show after a show I did, saying I owed him $75 in construction fees because a woman threw her head back so hard into my after one of my jokes. She broke the drywall on his bar. Uh, Dude, you want to hear something crazy? I was just on this cruise ship, and a man came up to me after the show, and he said he brought his wife and his wife's grandmother. And his wife's grandmother was 94 years old, and she died right there in the stateroom on the ship. And his wife was moping around, man. She was just,
Oh
distraught.
yeah.
This is a horrible thing. He brought her to my comedy show, and for 30 minutes, man, she popped out of it, and she was laughing, and she was a person again. I've had couples come to my shows. They came to my show once because they hadn't been out in 8 months because they lost their 2-year-old daughter to SIDS or some horrible reason. Oh, terrible, right? And they decided, you know what? We need to go out. We need to be people again. And they came to my comedy show, and it brought them out. And when they saw when I was near their area again, they literally drove 150 miles one way to come see me because it made them feel that good. I was sitting there on a ship one night, and I was talking to this fella, and he asked me what I did, and I told him I'm a comedian. And he said, I asked him what he did, and he said he's a psychologist. And I told him, oh, okay, well, we both work in medicine. And he scoffed at me. He said, well, I think mine's a little more professional than yours. And I told him the story about the grandmother dying. And I said, you know what, sir? You may have more letters behind your name and a degree, but I guarantee you, I could go back to school today and get my PhD or doctorate long before you could ever learn to do even close to what I do.
Yeah, no, you're right.
There's
Yeah, yeah,
power
it's
in
a
it, man.
special.
There's power in this. There's power in comedy. There's power in making somebody laugh. And to be able to hold an audience for an hour, keep their attention, and then have them walking out of there with women telling me, oh my God, I peed myself, or my face hurts, or I couldn't catch my breath, or you were so right that I love it, or you changed my mind on something. These are big deals, man, and you don't find those just anywhere. And comedy's a beautiful thing. And just because we don't have letters behind our names and degrees and jokeology doesn't make us any less legitimate. So when you come to my show, you're going to get funny. That's what you get. And you're going to get a good time. And for at least an hour, whatever troubles you had outside of that club, they're gone.
Those stories have got to, just fuel you to keep you going, because that's amazing, man. Like,
Yeah,
hearing that
yeah,
kind of,
that and the paychecks. Yeah, absolutely,
well,
man. It's no, it is. It's a wonderful thing because I remember when I was a kid, I was one of my favorite movies was Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and I don't know if you remember that
mhm.
scene where Eddie Valiant was worried that one of the guys in the bar was going to rat him out for a reward. And Roger said, no, I made him laugh. Making somebody laugh is important. It endears you to them. And even in my little small sphere of celebrity, man, I've got people that are they treat me like a god because I created something in them that they can't create for themselves, and nobody can bring, as easily as I can. And for that, they're so thankful. And it's a powerful gift, and I want to use it, and not abuse it. And so I'm trying my best to get everywhere. I'll take the shitty gigs. I'll take the good gigs. I just want to go out and make people laugh.
Well, you're a truly a talented comedian, and just a piece of advice for anyone going to see him: do not try to be active in his shows unless he wants you to. Don't try to like put in your own lines or anything like that, because this man will destroy you. I've seen it
Okay,
firsthand.
but don't paint me as an asshole. See, I understand there's a difference. You got your helpers, you got your hecklers, and then you got your drunk white bitches. All what I'm saying is, if you want to throw in something, it's an intimate room, and it's cool. I'll play along. I'll go ahead. But if you're going to be an interruption, yeah, I'm going to come after you.
Yes, yeah, I should have been more clear. Yeah, no, he's not like this horrible guy you don't want to see. But yeah, I mean, and in the show that I saw you destroy that woman, you basically were the spirit animal of everybody in you know that show, because we could not handle her. She just kept going off. So yeah,
Well, that was your example of that's a drunk white bitch, man. There's just no stopping them because helpers and hecklers know that there's a line where it's like, all right, either we're stepping outside or you're going to buy me a drink, but this has got to stop. But a drunk white bitch has just never been clocked in the jaw, so she doesn't know the difference, on when to shut up and when her time is done. And so, she can Google complain about me all day long and cancel me on Twitter as she wants to. But you know what? I'm back, and she's not. So, ta-da!
well, and I mean, we all paid a lot of money to go see you. I mean, not a lot of money, but a decent
Yeah.
amount of money.
And who do you right? And who does this lady think she is to go ahead and say that her ticket price entitles her to become the star of the show and ruin it for everybody else? Is she more important than everybody? And that's the point I want to make. That way I let the audience know. Listen, each one of you, including this lady, is important in here, but nobody's more important than anybody else. And I didn't see her dumbass face on the poster, so I'm going to go ahead and do my show. And if I have to do it at her expense, that's not my fault. I didn't tell her to speak up and chime in and start, mouthing off. I I just gone ahead and respond to what she's going to go ahead and lay out, and she's not used to it because hey, I'm 17 years married. Your pussy powers don't work on me.
No, that's why you're one of the best, genuinely good comedians. You are there for the audience. I mean, I truly believe that you work your hardest. You go to whatever place will play to make people laugh, to make people's days better, and you'll protect their asset in you by performing at a 10 out of 10 every time you're on there. And
Man, I just appreciate the hell out of people that get up out of their house and they come out and support live comedy. When they come, even if it's not my show, I just thank the hell out of them, man. They're the real heroes because this is such a great art form, and it's one of the last bastions of free speech, and it's just it's something that people that sit behind their computers or sit in their dark rooms, sniffing their own farts, telling each other how great they are in their echo chambers, they'll never understand. They don't understand the the real the realness, the humanity of sitting in a sweaty dark room with other people and sitting next to them and bumping elbows and hearing them laugh and how it's contagious and it just roams around the room and you're on top of each other, you can smell each other. It's carnal, it's perfect.
you're right.
It's humanity in its finest form. And man, I just appreciate the hell out of those people that understand that. So you're damn right. I'm going to give them a 10 out of a 10 every time, man. I don't care if it's 3 people or 3,000. I'm going to rock it.
That's why you're amazing, man. Look, we got to do this again some other time when it's not just promotion, because we could talk for hours on some real Joe Rogan style conversations. I definitely appreciate you calling in, man. Hey, do you got anything you want to plug before we let you go?
Hey man, it's always my pleasure to come on the show. You know, I'm a big fan. And yeah, you know, if you guys want to check me out, you can go to alexelkin.com. You can also find me on, I got two specials on Amazon Prime. You can download any of my stuff. Hell, go to YouTube and watch it for free. Just share it with your friends, man. It's these kind of people that are listening to you guys and listening to me that are going to make this shit work, man. I've been doing this 25 years, and I feel like in another 10 or 15, I might just be an overnight success. So if we can work together into making this dream work, I can get bigger, I can get better, and I can come out and see whoever, wherever they are. And if you can't see me in Wichita, and if you know some friends, I'm going to be in Little Rock at the Looney Bin next weekend, all weekend. So come out and see me. Come get a show, buy a ticket, get a drink, have a laugh. Let me sign your tits. It's going to be a great time.
Well, thank you so much, Alex. You have a great show tonight. I'm hoping to see you tomorrow.
Oh, all right, brother. Well, you come by and we'll shake hands. I appreciate it.
Sounds good, brother. You have a good one, man. Take care.
You too. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye. There he is. It's Alex Elkin, who's going to be at the Looney Bin in Wichita, Kansas tonight, tomorrow night. You heard him talk about it. It's gonna be a great show. He's a great comedian, a really nice guy. He's one of those guys you can go up to, and yeah, he'll take pictures with you, get autograph. He gave me a shirt last time, and I wasn't the radio guy that I am now, which is not very much, but still, he's a really nice guy. Just yeah, go check him out, or yeah, if you're not in the area, and you're looking for new comedians to listen to, you get tired of the daily stress of news and politics and mass shootings or whatever, give his album a listen. A really, really good one to just kind of take all that away from you. Anyway, thanks a lot, guys. Have a good evening.